All right, it's smallmouth time again. Thanks for calling Red's Fly Shop. How can we help you today?
Oh, you're traveling to Christmas Island? We'd be happy to help you.
There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, shipping's free on that order.
Woo! I may have a problem. I think I'm addicted to these critters here. We're gonna fish the lower Yakima River today. We're just gonna pull into our ramp here. More than just showing you some smallmouth action, want to do two things today. We're gonna teach you about fishing for smallmouth, and we're gonna give you lots of tips just on casting streamers, presenting streamers, the fly selection that we might employ, and hopefully get a bunch of you motivated to explore some of the warmer water fisheries around. I've just had a blast fishing bass this year, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to trout fish anymore. I certainly am, but smallmouth are abundant right now. The populations are thriving, and we want to be able to take advantage of that and really have a great time fishing smallmouth. So I'm with Hayden from the shop, whom a lot of you know, either from our tying videos or our podcast, or just being in the store. And then Jameson's going to run our camera and put the video together today. So we're going to throw the boat in. We're going to jet up a few miles and hopefully go get some smallmouth. But more importantly, share our adventure with you and hopefully get you tuned up so that you can take advantage of some of the techniques that we're going to use, whether it's for trout or largemouth or salmon or saltwater fishing. Fishing bass or smallmouth is an excellent way to become a highly proficient saltwater angler as well, because that, making sharp casts, stripping, strip sets is really important. If you're even thinking about doing a saltwater trip someday, go catch a couple hundred bass on a fly, and I promise you, you will be a very good saltwater angler. So we're gonna throw this boat in, jet upstream, and hopefully go catch some fish. Okay, well, we motored upstream several miles, and the river's really low today, and we finally got to an impassable braid here. We're just gonna start basically fishing from here down. We could probably walk the boat above the riffle, but we're gonna row the boat, and we're gonna start picking apart this water down below us. I'm gonna jump on the sticks, and Hayden's gonna jump up front, and we're gonna get started here. So we have several miles of river that we can fish here, and we're gonna row downstream and get started. So they love those little ambush points, right, like that. Slow her down just a little bit once you come tight to it. And they can be anywhere from the bank to the boat here damn near. It's a little shallow up there, but it's dropping off nicely. Hey, that's your first one.
Dude, nice work.
Sweet, dude. Right on. That's Hayden's first Yakima River smallie. Look at that. You ready for me to big hand this thing? Wow, I'm gonna hide behind it. Look at that, you can't even see the fisherman. That's a nice little bass. Yeah, those are sweet. What do you think, Hayden? Pretty fun?
I like that.
Yeah. A lot of times you'll just see that fly line just tick. And that's what we saw there just a moment before we got the actual hookup. That fish took, just right between strips. And I think, what I was saying this morning about becoming just a good streamer angler and a good saltwater angler, there's so many skills you'll pick up. Like if you're a good angler for bass, you're gonna get all those tiny nuances. I mean, that first tick was just the tiniest thing. And then Hayden strips, there's another grab right there. I better get back on the oars here and square the boat. Some of those little subtleties, whether you're streamer fishing for bass, trout, or whatever, you get enough reps in bass fishing, throwing, a streamer and actually fishing it. And bass require a lot of nuance sometimes. Bass, they're just very specifically will want to eat it between the strip, Sometimes they want you to burn it and strip it really quick. Other times, like, you know, the hatch we're fishing right now is the salmon fry are migrating out of the Yakima River to the Columbia, and these bass are basically taking these not free drifting salmon fry, but these salmon fry aren't like a sculpin or a crayfish that are darting from hiding place to hiding place. These salmon fry are just kind of, they're just trying to glide, you know, with the current, real easy. They're just cruising downstream, and then those smallmouth are just picking them off. So I tend to find that these bass will eat between strips with just a little tension on there.
Man, these little, the like half pounders take it so subtle.
Was that a pretty soft strike again?
Yeah. Oh, there's fish following him. Do you have another
Oh,
fly?
we got a double?
Do you have another fly?
No, I don't have another fly. He's chasing it?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a better one with him.
Oh yeah, they think it's a feeding frenzy. There's one bass chasing. This is a little nicer one. Oh, lame net job, man. You're gonna throw out that one. Yeah, so what'll happen sometimes is you'll hook one bass and be fighting it, and the other bass think it's some kind of feeding frenzy, and they'll just school out around them and see what that guy's eating, see if they can't get any scraps or seconds. Yeah, so what happened there is Hayden's fly hit the water. There's all these salmon fry we can see hitting the surface out here, and we're just waiting for something to bust. Hayden threw his fly in there and splashed and saw a fish move. You know, it's real low light. He couldn't see exactly what it was. We weren't sure whether it was a smallmouth or a carp or what it was. And then you said there were multiple fish?
Yeah.
I
landed my cast and I watched a fish come back around at it, and then I came tight to another smaller one.
There is an insane number of carp at the end of this pool. I think they're spawning though. Hey, if you haven't listened to the podcast episode with Carp on the Fly guy, Ryan Mock, Hayden and I interviewed him on the podcast yesterday. I think it's episode 110 or something like that on the Mend Fly Fishing podcast. His insights on technical carp fishing are incredible. Go find that episode with Ryan Mock. I thought it was absolutely awesome. And then check out his YouTube channel called Carp on the Fly. If that doesn't get you stoked to go carp fishing, you don't have a pulse. It's awesome. Hayden says there's about double the amount of boulders on this side versus the other side. So we're hopeful that we can find some of these ambush fish that are heavily feeding on these fry right around in these boulders here somewhere. You know, the other thing that's really good for learning to strip set is like panfish. Just stripping little buggers and nymphs in lakes and ponds, like learning to become, like have that just mnemonic, like no emotion, just boom, strip set. Like every single time you do that, you'll move on to be a very good tarpon fisherman, bonefish, anything on earth, you know, where a strip set's required. You'll just have this neurological, yeah, another one? You'll just have this neurological default. You'll just be like a strip set cyborg, just boom, you can't trout set after a certain point. When you do it enough, your mind just knows. Man, what happened there, Hayden?
Well, Joe's been barking at me to slow down all morning.
Yeah, sometimes you got to slow her down because you missed.
I missed like 6 fish in a row.
Yeah, it's a little guy, but
Fiddler.
you know, it's not all smallmouth are going to be big. Some of these guys are just going to be small, but they provide some damn good entertainment. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Hayden and I were kind of jousting with one another, and he had like 6 grabs up there, just kind of tap, tap, tap. And what I have found is a lot of times that fly is just moving a little too fast. There's a little too much tension. So the bass will, when it eats it, a lot of times it'll try to vacuum it in. It'll pop its jaws open and create a vacuum. And if that fly has too much tension on some of those softer vacuum bites, you'll get like a little contact, but you won't get it deep in there. And as soon as you slow down and let that fly kind of slack a little bit, they love to eat it between strips and charge up and vacuum it right between strips. And so sometimes slowing down is as much about just converting the hookup as it is actually, you know, generating strikes. So fly selection is of some importance with smallmouth bass fishing. I gotta be honest though, I've been fishing primarily my trout streamers most of the spring, with the exception of a few flies that might have limited overlap. A great place to start with flies is something like this Sticks-a-lot right there. That is the brown version. It's got some flash. It's got, I don't know if it's a rabbit or squirrel, a little tungsten bead on the head, very fishy, a fairly fast sinking fly. And the Sticks-a-lot's been great. I fish it a ton for trout. I think if you started there for your weighted flies and you did black, white, olive white, brown, and gold and had a handful, this is the gold version here. It has quite a bit more flash, and I think that can work. There's some days when you can A/B test things, and that flash is going to be an advantage. It is really important, though, to make sure to have some smaller, more lightly weighted flies. I haven't seen a proportional difference in size of bass as it relates to size of fly. I think even the largest bass are still eating, you know, minnows that are 1 to 2 inches long. And a fly that's really surprised me that I've really liked is actually a soccer bomb from Rio. And I realize it's all puffed up. You can't really see what it is, but it's a really little jig head streamer with a very small hook. And it's got a very little tungsten bead. It plays much lighter. I've been fishing the straight olive one. I think it's called a thin mint for color. And I'll tag these flies in the video description here. That's a really good one when I want a lighter fly, or maybe I'm trying to get any bass. I don't care too much about size. Sometimes when I'm personally fishing, I just want to stick some fish. I'm not worried about the size of the fish, and the soccer bomb appeals to all sizes of bass, and it hooks the smaller ones a little bit better. So maybe if you're having a lot of bumps and you're not able to connect on some of the bigger hooks, the soccer bomb is a really nice place to go in. 3 takes, right?
That's been the kind of the pattern now.
Dude. Oh man.
Keep retrieving.
Yeah, good thing we got a heavy rod. Yeah, 3 takes. Yeah, keep retrieving, right? That strip set is king. I cannot tell you people enough. Like, the strip set is king. You want to put fish in the net? You gotta fight every urge to lift that rod tip. You had 2 or 3, I think that was like the 4th strike.
Yeah.
And then Hayden just stayed home on that. Whoomp, 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 and then finally, wah.
Exactly like that.
The strip set. All right, so this is essential for being a good bass fisherman, and absolutely essential for being any type of saltwater angler. So the strip set is just like it sounds. Instead of setting the hook with my rod tip, I set with my hands like so. And there's a bunch of advantages to it. When it comes to driving a hook home that has a little bit heavier wire, it's just a more powerful set than lifting my rod tip. I get a direct connection with the fish. I've got my rod low so that I can apply extra pressure to that fish immediately and kind of do a secondary hook set with my rod nice and low, like so, where I've got more power and more leverage. It's really hard when you're first learning to do it, especially if you've been one of those folks that's on a tarpon or a bonefish trip, and your guide is just losing his mind because you keep trout setting, you keep lifting that rod like so, and you would think that would work. It just doesn't work as good. It's plain and simple. Hayden's pouting right now. Why is Hayden pouting? Hayden just lost our nicest bass hook so far. So he's sad. Oh, that's sweet. I didn't even see, I was just kind of throwing a cast to grab 10 more feet of water, and there's a giant boulder, you know, like right near where my fly happened to land. I wasn't even aiming at it. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, that fish came directly from the side. No follow. I was watching my fly going, oh man, if there was one there, I'd really see him following it, you know? And then, dude, out of nowhere, that fish blitzed it at like Mach 2, like just like 90 degrees. The last 2 have been like kind of less softer, weaker follows.
Not him.
Dude, that thing just blitzed it at 90, total blindside. It was not as big as the last one, but man, it was a great, great strike. Hayden had snagged a rock or piece of grass or something, so we started to take the boat real slowly and quietly in to retrieve the fly. And then a bass, about a 2-pounder, just cartwheeled out of the water eating a fry right on the surface. I mean, it did like a double gainer, man. It jumped high out of the river as we were snagged. It was like, talk about just like, you know, bad timing. We're like, oh no. And then the bass is like just crashing bait right down here. These salmon fry, they're free drifting in the current pretty much, and they're just kind of frolic around on the surface. And then those bass you'll see them just launch themselves out of the water. So you don't have to fish deep, you know, you actually kind of want to keep that fly up. You know, these fish aren't sucking anything off the bottom, it doesn't seem like. There's something moving right there. Did you see that nervous water? Mm-hmm. That's right where that there, oh, dang it, man. There he is, he came back to, oh, it's a little guy. Obviously a different bass. Here, let's get that guy. Let's get this little feller. Dude, by next year, this bass will be, they grow so fast. I mean, look at the, dude, their bellies are just tight. Yeah, let's go back in for that bigger one that was moving all that water. I could see the water stirring around, you know, like a pretty good volume of water moving around in there. And then Hayden threw over it and had a good strike, and then, you know, a few strips later he got that smaller one, but we know that nicer bass was just right in there a moment ago. Can't tell you how important this is when it comes to casting with streamers. So one of the challenge with poppers or streamers or whatever is going from a short line in the most minimal amount of false cast out to a long line so that I don't miss any spots. Like, if I can cover the water, I'm gonna catch more fish, plain and simple. I've guided a long time. This is one of the hardest thing for anglers to do. Trout anglers can just pick up a dry fly and lay it back down. Nympher, pick it up and flop it back down. You don't have to shoot a lot of line. With this, shooting line is king. The more line you can shoot, the faster you can do it, the more fish you're gonna get. So when it comes to efficiently throwing your next cast, I'm fishing a popper right here, and I'm gonna strip the bug back till I have just over a rod length of line in my hands. That's about maybe 8 to 12 feet of line is gonna be my average. When I go to lift the fly off the water, if I can let line slip out like I did right there, I just let about 4 feet slip out, then I can throw a pretty long cast. I didn't quite get all the line with no false cast. So if I throw one false cast, and we're gonna see how fast this goes, and I'll try to talk you through it. I'm gonna draw my rod to the side so there's a little traction from that popper. I'm gonna let 4 feet of line slip through my left hand. Then I'm gonna pinch it when it's appropriate, pop it back, throw one false cast, and then I can throw my cast back out. And that's the line slip pickup. Works really well with a weighted streamer, not so well with a popper. Slip, throw my false cast, and I'm back out in the water stripping again. So, okay, oh, big fish on the popper. There he is. Oh, you're kidding me. Are you joking? I'm sucking on this popper. That's like the 4th strike I've missed right here. Okay, we're gonna go like fishing real time. With the shooting, there's another nice bass. I got him that time. Beautiful. Ah, that's fun, man. Just teaching that little line slip pickup thing and smash. Oh, there's another one. Oh, look at that one.
Oh, that's a big one.
Oh, that's insane. That's a big bass. Not the one on my line. There's another one schooling around it. I think that one schooling around it must have been the one I missed before. Yeah, sweet. Popper's out. Let's get him back in the water.
Little bass shower.
That line slip pickup, one of the most important things to learn. So as you're lifting the fly out, let a little line slip out, pinch it off, pop it back hard, and then you can a lot of times slip a little line into your back cast if you have a nice wet slippery line. So maybe I slip 4 feet to it here, I pop it back, maybe I slip 2 or 3 feet there, and then I can haul forward and shoot it. And most of the time I don't even need a false cast to get back out to 40 feet. Each bass has kind of a different angle of intercept that they want that fly. And so sometimes you got to throw in and you'll try 190, you'll try one down. Sometimes if there's faster current, we'll let it swing out, but just being really efficient so that you can get tons of reps, just again and again and again. There's a good one.
Good one.
Dude, oh. No. Boo, dude, oh. That one was right between that boulder set and that boulder set. There's like
shallow water.
Yeah, there's 2 rocks there, and that fish was like equidistant between those 2 boulders. And it's really tempting, like with trout fishing, oftentimes it's just cast and strip it back, cast and strip it back. The bass require a lot of nuance. You know, the bass like it when that fly flutters down. There, you got him, you got him. Oh, dude, that was nuts.
He came at me.
That was nuts. Yeah, he slacklined you and I thought he was gone.
It's about the size of the fly.
Oh, what are you talking about, dude? It's just smallmouth fishing, they're all good. Let me see that thing. We're gonna make that thing. Show me how big you can make that fish look.
Here, if I get him like this.
And I get down like that. Oh my gosh.
I can barely lift him.
Dang, dude, that's a double hander.
Red eyes.
Yeah, cool. Hey, all those are good fish. That's a good strike.
Heck yeah.
Let's talk about gear real quick. Whatever gear you have, just use it. The main thing is you just get out and go fishing. That's bar none the most important thing. Hayden's fishing a Lama glass he built in high school that's a 5-weight that acts like a 7-weight. So you can use any rod and reel you want. The most important thing is you know how to cast. Casting is king. We will talk about casting in this video today, either before or after this. But casting is king. But if you were setting up an ideal rod for smallmouth, you're gonna use a floating line 90% of the time. There are times a sink tip is really handy, but I would definitely prioritize a floater. The Rio smallmouth bass line is excellent. The Rio Predator line is excellent. I think a really heavy forward taper so that you could not only turn over a weighted fly well, but also make really quick casts. We have to be able to strip that line back and then regenerate that distance with the most minimal amount of false casts. As far as the rod build goes, fast action's great. Casting heavy flies, I'm running a 691 Sage R8. If I were choosing a rod only for smallmouth, if that's what I was doing most of the time, I'd probably look for something in that 8.5 foot range, like an 8.5 foot 6-weight or 7-weight. Just shorter rods are a little quicker. They're a little jiggier and work better for streamers around the boat and punch into tight spots. 9-footers are fine too. The fighting butt is really, really nice to have. There are times you're just gonna dig that fighting butt right into your body. You're gonna use it quite a bit. I really like the fighting butt. If I were picking a reel, you know, the Lamson Hyperspeed is great. It's expensive. Do you have to have a reel like this for smallmouth? No, they pull hard, but you're probably not gonna see your backing on smallmouth. They just don't fight like that. They're diggers and bulldogs, pull like hell, but they don't do long runs. I do like the super large arbor. It makes a big difference in zipping in line, either to move to a new spot or bringing in slack line real quick. The bigger, super large arbor type stuff is much better. The Arbor XL from Sage is also another really great choice for like a bass specific application. But whatever rod you got, 6 or 7 weights are excellent, but just get out there and do it. Oh, that's a freaking boss right there. Okay, we decided we're gonna do some carp fishing. We just couldn't help ourselves. There's some big ass carp in here. Oh, dude. You got another target?
I did for a second.
Just right there. It was just like too tempting. There's a group of carp that were in here motoring around. Aren't you glad we didn't go after those orange tarpon now?
Oh, there's a huge one with him.
No way.
There is a 5+ with him.
No, seriously? This is so much fun. This is ridiculous. We're seeing some carp down there and we're now calling them orange tarpon. And so we're like, oh, I wonder if we should go after the orange tarpon. And then, I don't know, like that very cast pretty much. Oh, that's a pretty bass, dude. That's a really clean.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a really healthy, that's a really healthy fish. Their mouths are so cool, dude. They've got like the little Velcro patches, you know, the little micro teeth, where they grip, you know, a slimy critter like this. Cameraman jumped up. I was doing the rowing. I feel like it was the guiding. First Yakima River smallmouth. It was definitely far from the guiding. Caught on a Sir Sticks-a-Lot, eh? That's your first river bass? Kind of. First Yakima River bass. Those Sir Sticks-a-Lot fly. See that salmon fry on the surface back there? It's popping just like Hayden's bug. You see that? Oh! Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Dude, literally, I don't know how much I recorded. I was whispering to James, I'm like, dude, you see that salmon fry like dancing and popping across the surface? And there was a fry back there. And then I was like, that looks just like Hayden's popper going across the surface.
And then I got detonated.
And then Hayden got detonated. Oh my Lord. Dude, that was
a big bass.
that wasn't like, yeah, a little squeaker, dude. Oh my gosh. And Jameson hooked one up right before that where Hayden went over it with the popper, and then Jameson stuck one on a streamer after, and I was like, well, maybe the poppers, maybe they're not in the mood for it because they've been taken pretty soft, and then absolutely just dynamited that popper. Oh, another big eat.
Little guy, but he ate it.
Oh, there he is, you got him. Oh, not a bad bass. Yeah, good, that was nice, smooth hook set. I wish I had that on video, but yeah, the delayed, you know, this, we got a beaver swimming around back there. Yeah, the slightly delayed hook set with the popper. And we'll look at that popper real quick. Yeah, nice, not quite like the one that, the Kermit the Frog looking thing. Yeah, that was fun, good. Yeah, we're getting into the popper eats now, but like a dumb guy, I forgot my popper box at home, so I have one popper in my streamer box. So we're sharing one popper. So it'd be better if we had two poppers, I think, because they're starting to eat the popper pretty good now. Sometimes popper can be actually the preferred fly.
I'm not cut out for this popper thing, man.
Oh, that was another big one of the popper. They just, they're so hard to hook on that dang popper. They're so hard to hook. That was such a clean set on the popper. And a very nice bass too. Dude, that was such, oh my gosh. That's a nice bass. And on the popper, dude.
Heck yeah.
Look at that guy. That was a really nice set. I mean, it's not a real big popper, you know, so there's not a lot of gape there, but yeah, solid bass on this little popper with the orange belly. Not a big popper, but it makes a good commotion, and we think it looks like a salmon smolt. Beautiful. Popper fishing. Okay, poppers can be an advantage. Today, they were actually quite good. We have this warm, cloudy day. It's real dark, so even during the middle of the day, there's something about a popper that can be really effective. A lot of times poppers aren't imitating frogs or mice or other surface critters. They're actually imitating bait fish that are skipping on the surface. We saw tons of minnows today that were dancing around on the surface, and lots of times we would see these smallmouth just crash that bait right on the surface when those minnows were dancing along top. A popper creates cavitation, a little bit of a hysteria, there's bubbles coming off of it, and it can actually confuse the trout's vision for what it's actually seeing and look perhaps more natural than even the sexiest streamer. So poppers can be very, very good. They're also great for fishing over weedy areas or where you might be snagging bottom as well. So poppers, you definitely want to have a handful of poppers in your box. Oh, dude, I mean, you know, the thing is, when a fish strikes at a popper and misses, you see every one of them. Yeah. We're not seeing the ones that are striking at the streamer and just missing. Nice!
That's a big one.
Look at that, dude. Oh, that's a good best bass of the day. Yeah.
Are we live?
We're live! Dude, that was so awesome. I don't know if it recorded that, but we're just talking about like we're getting good eat. That was a really nice hook set, by the way, man. That, yeah, you were super, like just super clean and patient on the set. We were just talking like you see every popper eat, so I think it feels sometimes like you're missing more, but maybe we're just seeing every strike, you know, whereas on the streamer, we're not seeing the ones that just boil it. Oh, come on, please. Oh, we got it. Oh, he came unhooked right there. Oh, that's a freaking slob, dude. Look at that one, Hayden. Dude, on the popper.
Dude.
That was awesome, man. Yep. I was just not a bad bass. Oh, damn. That was sweet. He's digging. Yeah, Hayden's like, oh, they're diggers, man. They just, first thing they do is dig for the bottom. We've been talking about how these fish eat on the paws. we were BSing about how sticky our lines feel, and it's like it's hitting the hot boat, and I think the lines are really dry and tacky, you know?
Yeah.
And then as soon as we're BSing about oh man, look at that.
Baba Booey.
Yeah, that's more like it, Hayden. Dude, congrats, man. So I learned this earlier. You don't lip the bass right over the rower seat.
Yeah, no.
I had a wet ass earlier from that. Yeah, that's a sweet smallmouth, dude. Look at that guy.
Chowed.
Man. Yeah, we were BSing about the lines, and then Hayden stopped stripping to, just talk to me. And we went back. We've tried different stuff. That Sir sticks a lot still. It's just seems to be the winner. Yeah, that's whoa, hey.
I was pulling in slack. I wasn't moving the fly at all, and then I felt the tick. Stripped into him.
We kind of have a little quiet time. We had a little quiet in the action, so we're just like BSing, and then that thing wrapped it right in those rocks right there.
Yeah, he choked it.
Sweet. I was just about to kick Hayden off the deck too. I was like, dude, you need to give me a decent bass.
I think that was that cast you said that.
Yeah, and then on demand, he's just like, whoa. There he is. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. That was your third set on that fish.
Yeah.
That was your third set on that fish. That strip set, dude.
You have to stay patient.
You have to strip set. Like, you will suck at bass fishing if you don't get good at strip set. You have to get a lot of reps. You have to get a lot of live reps on fish and catch and hook a lot of fish to stay like, nice. To stay like totally like, good on that set where you always do it. You're like a strip set, like robot. Nice. There's a cinematic bass release. All right, let's talk about casting. Casting is the number one thing that you should bring on a fishing trip. Casting, I've said it again, the practice is free. You can become a good caster in your own front or backyard. Like, it's free. All the resources are there. You've just got to practice. When we're casting streamers, casting becomes extra critical because we don't just get to pick a fly up, lay it down, give it a mend, and then let the current deliver it to the fish. You, as the angler, have to deliver your fly right to the fish. And the more accurate you are, and the cleaner that fly lands. And when I mean clean, I mean the fly hitting lateral, like so, with a nice, fairly taut leader. Most of the time you want a tight leader. There's a few exceptions when you wouldn't want a tight leader, but for the most part, we want that fly ready to fish and bring into presentation from the moment it hits. Bass are also very reactionary creatures. If we deliver a cast that's got just a nice plop, it doesn't smack the water, but it's just an individual article hitting the water and making some type of disturbance, that bass will look over and that will get the bass's attention. And it's going to think, hey, there's some prey got in close to me. I didn't see it coming, but now I see it and it's levitating down if it's a streamer, and they'll often eat it just right on the drop. As soon as that thing starts levitating down, you'll pick up a lot of fish with a good, clean, accurate cast. Oh, there we go. There we go. Dude, that's another decent fish.
Yeah, they're picking up in size for sure.
Dude, way to keep that tip down. You see how he's got his tip down the whole time. I'm just gonna net this while we're floating. Yeah, when you fight those bass, like, you follow up that strip set, and you want to keep that tip down in a heavy bend and to the side. Another solid. That'll go over a pound. Yeah, sweet.
The football.
Look at that. Smile, Hayden. Wah. Yeah, that low rod that's just bent to the side is definitely what you want. Definitely what you want. That fish was kind of moving out and just strip with that rod really low and just dogged in. If that tip goes way up, those fish will corkscrew off so much of the time. You just want to get that rod kind of down and low, suck that hand in, and continue stripping. Muddy stuff. There it is. Nice. There's another good one. Nice work. Rod low. This is like deja vu. Dude, I am not getting out of the rower seat to net this one. You have to bring it right to me right here.
I'm going to go for a little walk.
I'm refusing to stand up to net one more of your bass. Bring it to me. Okay, when it comes to fighting fish, this is going to be a lesson here. The netter, his job is not to chase the fish around all over the boat. Oh, net it. The netter's job is to hold the net, and the angler's job is to guide the fish into the net. See how Hayden and I did that?
Teamwork.
Mwah! Woo!
Boom.
Yeah, that's the first one in a while that has preferred the streamer. This is one of those rare days when we've got all this nice cloud cover that it just seems like the fish are preferring the popper. So you just never know. That fish ate on impact. That fly landed and that fish moved on it right on impact. When we talk about like casting for bass, I'm a huge advocate for everybody bass fishing because the casting, gorgeous, just gorgeous. Yeah, I wish I had the scale. That's a good one. Yeah, beautiful.
That's a nice
man. That's a nice mature smallmouth. Beauty, dude. Fantastic. Look at that guy. I'm a huge advocate for anglers getting reps in bass fishing. That fish was 45-foot cast, 50-foot cast.
Yeah, first strip.
First strip, right between two rocks. We don't get the luxury of throwing a cast out there and mending it several times and letting the current present the fly for us. Like with bass, especially with largemouth, more so, like in a still water ecosystem, the fish will so often see that large fly because the water's relatively clear. They're going to see everything in their 10-foot, radius around them. That fly hit. It was a nice taut leader. The fly hit where the tail had identity. It didn't hit in a big mess or a big ball with a bunch of slack in it. It hit, and the fly hit on a nice tight leader and then starts to levitate down. One strip, that bass had already identified that fly on impact and just moved on it. And you have to be able to shoot line. You have to be able to handle your line well. We'll talk about a couple of these things at some point in this video, but that was an example of having to deliver that fly like right to the fish. Like that fly landed really tight to the fish and it had to land really clean. That was a very good hookup. Like very, very good hookup. That was super fun to watch.
So this is my old Lama glass here. Joe was giving me a little bit of grief when I pulled up to the boat ramp with this in tow. But it's got to be my favorite rod that I own. It's nothing fancy, it's nothing crazy, but it was the first rod I ever built, so I made this for a school project. It started a little high school business for me for building rods. And like I said, it's not the best gear, but it's my gear. I love this rod, and you can see I fished it a lot. I've actually got a groove where my thumb sits on it from fishing it so much. But she ain't pretty, and she's not the most high-performing stick there is, but it's my stick.
Big fish, big fish. Got him. Maybe the same fish, dude. Yeah, that's a nice one. Good. Man, that was a slow eat, dude. I mean, I don't know if you heard me say he's coming,
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Look at that. I think I'm gonna bring him up on the reel so I don't have all this extra line around the boat. We're on pretty heavy line. I'm gonna pretty much go for it here. That's a nice fish. Dude, there we go, Hayden. Yeah. Dude, that was really cool.
Dude, look at that thing.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. That was like a really, really nice. And he just blows up out of it. That was I don't know, maybe it was the same fish. I don't know, they were both pretty nice. I don't know, 3 pounds or so, but that one, I just watched him tracking it really slowly, like his rate of pursuit didn't match the rate of retrieve that I had originally been using.
Yeah. So
I just slowed it up. It was like, okay, come on, because if I would have sped it up, I don't think he would have pursued it. Yeah. And then we would have been like right by the foot of the boat. Dude, that was really, really fun.
there you go.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Way to go, J-Mo.
Heck yeah, dude.
Finally.
Boom.
Dude, those things are hard to hook.
They are.
Tell us what happened right before you hooked that fish, though.
We had a big one right behind it, come and miss it, and then casted right back a little left, and I don't know, but this might be the same fish.
Yeah, it made the one before this made a huge wave. Oh, man. Sweet.
Small jaws, baby.
Dude, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
On the papa. Nicely done, guys. I think part of getting into those two bigger bass back to back, whether it was the same one, it probably wasn't because it was about 40 feet downstream, but the water changed right there. You could see we were fishing those shallow rocks, which you did good on right at the top.
In the current.
Yeah, and then I fished through the shallow rocks, nothing. And then all of a sudden, like right here, you could see the bank went from boulders to steep mud, and there's a hole right here. Like, even though there's no current to suggest it, there's a deep spot right here. And we rolled into that deep spot and had those two good follows immediately. And we'd fished quite a ways with nothing, you know, prior to that. So, like, all fish, whether they're trout or smallmouth in rivers, they like change. You know, you can catch them in shallow water, you can catch them in deep water, but there's always going to be some type of edge or change to that area. You know, some type of, something unique there that's going to pull a concentration of fish in there. So we're going to go back and we're going to Hayden's taking me up the merry-go-round here. So he's actually, as we're chatting, he's rowing back up so that I get another bite of that sweet, sweet water in there. So the popper action slowed down just a little bit, and Hayden caught a bass on a streamer a moment ago, and the streamer fishing had kind of slowed down a little bit too. But what Hayden saw was when he was netting the bass that he just caught, it regurgitated up a pretty good sized crayfish. And so we're going to switch up to a pattern that makes a pretty good crayfish imitation. And we're going to go kind of refish this area around some boulders where the boulders kind of drop off to a muddy area. And the fly that we're going to use is going to be called, it's a knotty squirtle. Is that right? Knotty zertle bug. Knotty zertle. I'll tag the fly in the video. And but yeah, it's a pretty light fly too. And so we should be able to fish it maybe a little bit slower. We've been getting a little bit snaggy with some of the heavier flies we're fishing. So.
First cast with it.
First cast with that crayfish?
Better bass too, yeah.
Oh, man.
Came up and sipped it like a dry. He's not as big as I thought he was, but he's good.
Oh, that's a solid bass. First cast with that.
It was floating, and so I pulled it under and he just came up like this.
No way. That's awesome.
I didn't even see
Dude,
it.
you know why you got that one? You're faster at tying on the fly than I am. Let's see that thing.
Yeah, I never felt him. I just saw him come up and...
No way. Just swirled it right under the surface.
Yeah, and you can see.
Oh, he choked it down too.
It's gone.
Man, oh man. Dude, good job though. Nice little bass. And then there's
there he
that.
is, after being chowed.
Yeah, there's that naughty squirtle, zertle. I can't remember the darn name of it.
It's a
But yeah,
bug?
it's a cool bug. It's got all those knotted, crazy legs with the orange and black body and back. Hayden, you got him on the spay.
Swung him up.
Yeah, tell me about this water type you're in. Like, what made you choose this spot?
Well, the reason...
Wow. Dude. Nice one. That your first smallie on your two-hander?
On the two-hander, it's my, well, second one. I accidentally did it on the snake, but that's my first one on purpose.
Beautiful, on a crayfish that you tied.
Yep, little tube there. I was fishing a more drab fly and went through the run with nothing. And I switched to this flashier dude. It doesn't look super flashy, I guess, right now, but in the water it really lights up.
Yeah, so that's kind of good testing. You fished it with one and then went to the other, so obviously...
Dude, look at all the mayflies crawling around on him.
So obviously there's an advantage to, you know, having that flashier bug. Well
That
done.
didn't suck. Now, I'm fishing a super light sink tip, and I'm really trying to creep my swing through slowly, but I'm animating the line with my fingers a little bit, so I'm not just dead swinging. I'm trying to make it look like a fleeing crawfish. But if you look down below me here, the reason I'm fishing such a light sink tip is because I have nice even, you know, spay speed current out here, nice walking speed current. But where the bass are hanging out is down in this kind of more lakey stuff. And so I'm trying to levitate the fly. I don't want a falling fly as it comes through this slower stuff. I want the fly to still look like it's alive and swimming. So a really light sink tip is helping me do that. I think if you were fishing heavier current, if they were out in the middle, you know, you could get away with a heavier tip. But for this instance, the light sink tip is very beneficial.
And that's like a 2.5 mo.
Yeah, I only have 2.5 feet of T8 on there, so the rest of it's floating. So really, really light sink, and then a very light.
Explain why that mo would be an advantage for steering that fly around.
The nice thing about the mo tip, right, is instead of my whole sink tip digging down into the water column and my whole sink tip dragging down below me, my sink tip is essentially sinking like this, just the tip of it's getting down. So I can track my swing really well and lead the fly through with my rod tip and animate it without sacrificing the fly skittering on the top, right? So I have just a little bit of bite at the end. So if there's rocks or boulders or something out there, most of my line is going to float cleanly over all that, and I just have a little bit down at the business end getting down into there.
Man, that was sweet fish.
That was awesome.
You know, do you need a watercraft to go bass fish fishing? The short answer is no. Is it better to boat? Yes, no doubt about it. Most things are. You don't have to have a power boat. You don't have to have a boat like this in order to go have a lot of success. This is the first year I've been running a sled like this. I'll show you how this boat's set up, but I want you to know, like, there's no excuse. Watercraft is not an excuse for not getting into bass fishing, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. This is a 16-foot John boat, G3 John boat. I've got a little 40-30 jet tiller on the back, and you can see it's a pretty scaled down design, real basic. We've got a Yeti cooler to row off of. That's a Yeti 35. Got some oar risers from Adipose Boat Works. Those were fairly easy to install, though I never like drilling holes in boats myself, but it worked out fine. And then I've got my same 9-foot oars off my drift boat that I can just throw in this boat right here. I do have an anchor system on the boat, which is really, really handy. We're anchored up right now. Really recommend that if you want to get into kind of the power drifter thing, but you don't have to. I fished in a drift boat. I fished in a drift boat with a trolling motor. I fished in rafts. Personal watercraft are absolutely excellent. Their watercraft is not an excuse. My son's bought a 14-foot John boat from our neighbor for $400, and that's what I have done most of my bass fishing in, with either a trolling motor or a 4-horse outboard or just straight oars. $400. Anybody can get a boat that's appropriate for fishing like this. Personal watercraft are great. Hayden's got a number of fish just wade fishing right here. You could get here in a kayak, a Watermaster, a personal watercraft. I mean, hell, you could probably put some arm floaties on and get to the spot if you really wanted to. So watercraft really shouldn't be an obstacle for people, but if you're somewhat serious about getting into it, you know, have something, having a boat where you can actually get into an elevated position to be able to read the water, to be able to see the structure, to be able to see down on the fish. Watching a bass physically attack your fly is one of the coolest experiences in fly fishing. And so having something elevated where you can see down is going to be a big advantage, simply for reading water and seeing fish and things too. But you could start with a real basic John boat or any number of crafts. The other thing about smallmouth is we're not always fishing them on rivers. We will fish them in reservoirs and other lakes as well. And any type of boat that you can get access to, just whatever you got, just go ahead and use it and make sure that you get out there. Don't let your watercraft type be an impediment for getting out and giving this a shot. I think it hooked on me.
I did, yeah.
Whoa, dude, that's freaking slick. That is the most slippery substance on earth. The most dangerous thing we'll do today is wading on this freaking slick ramp right now.